Black Hammer, an anti-colonial organization for the total liberation of African colonized people. We are building a city with no cops, no Rona, no rent, and no Mayo Saxon toilet complexion individuals. No K Tom, no K Becky, no K Karen. Just us coming together, uniting as one. No divisions about gender or sexuality or any of those things.
What?
I'd rather keep it real with ya.
Hey everybody, it's me, Minu, back again for another video. I didn't really plan on making this video, but then I thought about it. I was like, I probably should talk about this. But before I get into that, I want to show you my cool shirt. So I got this from Hot Topic. This is Gil. I'm not sure if you can read it. It looks like it's like reversed, but on the back, I don't know. You can see that. But that was really cool. That's what made me buy the shirt. I low-key want to wear the shirt backwards now because it's just really, really cool. And Gil is one of the Junji Ito stories that I really, really love. I don't know why. I like it. I like it better than Tomie. I like it better than Uzumaki. People who are into Junji Ito are like, no. The best ones are Tomie and Uzumaki, whatever. They're like thoughts for that. I just really like Gil. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's so disgusting. Maybe it's because, you know, it had these like woke undertones of like, you know, what we're doing to the environment and what happens when the environment fights back. I don't know. I just really like it. It's my thing. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that out the way. I got a cool new shirt. But I wanted to talk about this Black Hammer organization that is this radical Black separatist group that, you know, all the white people have been complaining about. And I wanted to talk about it as a Black person and just kind of like how I felt about it. I did go onto their website. I can see how people fall for this. Like, I can see how people are like, oh, this sounds good. Because, like, when you read it, think about it. You know, Black Hammer organization exists to take the land back for all colonized people worldwide. We're focused on building dual contending power of and for the colonized masses under the leadership of the colonized poor and working class. Our mission is to use our collective building power to unite, strengthen, and liberate all colonized nations. Currently, our physical and intellectual labor is being coerced to build for the capitalist white colonial state, but it can be redirected to a noble cause. We will organize our labor to be of service to our people. Our symbol, the hammer, represents breaking the chains of colonialism and building a self-determined future for all colonized people worldwide. I thought this was, I mean, it sounds really good. Like, if you're somebody who, you're in college. Now, I went to a liberal arts college, so I dealt with a lot of these type of people. But when you're in college, right, and you just start to learn about, like, all of the different ways that people are being oppressed, that the system is against people, the systematic racism, sexism, and all of that stuff, the first thing that happens is you get angry, right? You think like, man, this is so messed up. You know, you learn about capitalism. It took me forever to learn about capitalism. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I heard people throwing it out there, but I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. But as I started, you know, going through, like, when I left college and I had to go through all this stuff with like taxes and investments and 401ks and all of that stuff, that's when I started being like, oh, now I see now. Especially when going through all that stuff with the MLM, and how they were trying to convince me that their way was the better way. I was like, okay, now I see what the whole capitalism thing is. I see why that's bad for us. Because the way we practice capitalism in America is just ridiculous. But when you first learn about all this stuff, you get really, really angry and you want to do something about it. You know, you want to stop, you know, what's happening. You want to help people and everything. But when you look deeper into this organization, you start to see where the problems are. But I can see how people get pulled into it. I can see how especially liberal white people get pulled into it, because it can be overwhelming when you first learn about all this stuff. Like, when you first learn about eugenics, when you first learn about, because everybody kind of knows what slavery is, but a lot of people, like, after slavery, there's this huge blind spot in history that people forget about. And it's not even just Jim Crow. It's like all these instances of, you know, Black businesses not receiving loans, people wanting to sell their homes or buy homes, not getting loans, how, like how the education system hurts people of color. And it just goes on and on and on, and it gets so deep. And then you even think about the healthcare system, how the healthcare system hurts people of color, how people of color have been, sterilized against their will in the past in this country. And once you start seeing all of that, like you become woke, like your third eye opens or whatever, and you see all that stuff, you can't unsee it. It's like there's a path there. Like once you go over that cliff, you can't come back over the cliff. You can't be like ignorant to all the stuff that's going on anymore now that you know that it is. So I can understand how somebody would be enticed by this, especially as a white person. I know that I'm trying to find a page that everybody complains about where they're like, are you a white person? No, I'm not seeing it. So on the how to get involved, I don't see the white person thing, but I see like, our social media is a committee which revolutionary artists and strategists create content and manage the social media accounts for Black Hammer. We learn to make graphics and post for our revolutionary line and get it to as many people as possible. There's political education and culture that they do. Okay. If a writer, editor, producer, artist, they're just interested in coming up with new ways to reach our people, this political education and culture command is for you. Campaigns and outreach. The initiative is and projects that our organizations vote to support and organize around define the character of our struggle. We fight to protect colonized children from anyone within or outside the community who seeks to harm them. We organize to feed, clothe, and take care of our people. They have a disaster relief committee. There's membership and community committee where they work on helping get people in there. I see it. I get it. I see it. I've obviously watched some white people videos where they're like, it's all about white people and stuff. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I can see how, as a Black person, you are just now learning about all the different ways that you've been oppressed, whether it's been healthcare, education, redlining, politics. Like I can see how you would see something like this and be like, white people are evil and they've colonized everybody and we got to fight back against all of this. Like I can see that. I can see how this would be appealing to some people. And particularly, I have a friend. Well, I have an ex-friend. I'm lying. I got an ex-friend. She don't fuck with me no more. She don't like me no more. But it's cool. I don't think I'd really be friends with somebody like that anyway. I have an ex-friend, and let's just call her, I don't know. I think her name, let's just call her Khadijah. That's a super radical Black name. It's the super Black name, Khadijah. So I have this friend named Khadijah who was very much, I hate white people. They're responsible for everything that's wrong in the world, and Black people, we just need to completely separate from them altogether. And part of me could understand where she was coming from, because I understand that, like, even though segregation was bad, there was some parts of it was good, because once segregation ended, it was like there were a lot of Black-owned businesses that kind of got pushed out by the white-owned businesses, because Black people could go to the white businesses now. They didn't go to the Black-owned businesses now, and we have issues with that. But I didn't agree because I like white people. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I like white people. I like how they dance, I like talking to them. I like having fun with them. I don't really like being around racist white people, but there are some white people who, they fight really, really hard to be anti-racist. They fight really, really hard to understand Black people and people of color and their struggles, and they fight really hard to be sensitive to those struggles. So I like them. I don't want to be separate from them. I don't want to be separate from any race. I like it better if we were all, able to get along together. What, Sadie? What? That's not playtime. I'm making a video. But yeah, so I like it for us to all get along, and just have fun and be cool with each other, and we work towards making, you know, this country better for everybody. But she was like, no, hate all white people. And I was like, that's real funny because there's a lot of white people at this school. This is a majority white school. Why are you here? And she's like, I had no idea it was a majority white school. I felt like I was tricked. You know, she had got these scholarships and stuff. So she came to the school and she was like, not ready for all of the white people that were there. And so she was one of the people who she smiles in the face of white people, but secretly she hates all of them. And I was informed by her, you know, experiences. Like I said in previous videos, I went to all black schools. So I didn't have a lot of white experiences until I went to college. But she had gone to like private schools and majority white schools where she did endure some racism, and that informed her belief. And her beliefs are valid. You know, people who we would identify as white have done a lot of things historically to marginalized people. Like, it wasn't just American slavery. You know, when you even look at before that, you had Europe, you know, invading and enslaving Muslims in Africa. You had Europe colonizing places. You know, you had the Algerian Revolution where France was all up in Algeria, taking over for many, many years. So I can see where she's coming from with that. But her logical conclusion of, oh, well, we should just completely separate from white people and then there'll be no racism and everything will be fine, it's just not true. Like, racism would not go away just because white people go away. Like, they say that white people are going to be a minority by like, what, 2025 or something like that, or 2050, I think. And it's not going to make racism go away. Like, racism now is so deeply embedded in everything. That's why you hear black people talk about we have issues with the Asian community, because there are Asians who have businesses in the hood who don't like black people. You know, there are, you know, Iranian people, Middle Eastern people who don't like black people. There are Indian people who don't like black people. So it's not going to go away just because all the white people go away. It's just not. And I don't think that she fully understood that. You know, she like her Spike Lee, she watched Do the Right Thing and and the whites, which in her mind, you know, that encompasses everything. Irish, Italian, anybody who looks white, they've caused all the problems, and if we get rid of them, then there won't be any problems. That's just not true. So, say it, what you want? You don't want none. But, and then I was like, so what do you think we should do? And she told me, this was before Black Hammer, you know, we were in college several years ago, and she was like, you know, black people should just have their own state. Which now, being educated, I'm like, oh, an ethno state sounds awful. But back then I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, black people should have their own place where it's like an all black community and we all just do our own thing, whether it's an all black country, an all black state, whatever, we just all do our own thing. And white people aren't allowed. And I was like, well, how do you think that would work? Because, like, where would we get our wealth from? Like, because there's a lot of things that, you know, white people could contribute to the economy in these areas where they would, you know, contribute money and stuff. She's like, oh, well, they can donate money if they want, but they can't come over. And I was like, why would they just give us money? And she's like, well, you know, these white people, they feel so guilty. They, you know, if they want to help us out, then they'll give us money. And then, you know, and then we'll be good. And I was like, so you want us to have an all black place where white people aren't invited, but white people are invited to give us their money so that we can sustain ourselves? And she was like, yeah. That doesn't sound, it sounded completely ridiculous to me and my other black friends. We're like, that's ridiculous. White people ain't gonna give us shit just so we can exclude them. White people hate being excluded from everything. Like they hate even if there's like a black therapy group. They'd be like, where's the white therapy group? Why we can't be in the black therapy group? Like they hate being excluded from literally anything because they want to be in everything. They're not gonna fund something for them to be like separate from. Like, they're not just gonna donate money. That doesn't make any sense. And so he was like, girl, you ridiculous. And now Black Hammer exists. And I was just like, what? Somebody actually did this? And there are white people who are actually on board with it? And they actually have raised thousands of dollars and actually bought land? Shitty land, mind you, but they've raised thousands of dollars from donations from people for this. You agree with me, Sadie? It's ridiculous, right? But I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't think that this would actually happen. But then again, you know what? 2020, 2021, expect the unexpected, because anything is fucking happening. But not only is this whole idea ridiculous, once you like actually look at it, like I can understand how people fall for it because it makes sense. Like their website is beautiful. Like the language they use is amazing. They want to help colonized people. They want to help them like free them from oppression and have their own thing and build them up, and all that stuff sounds great. But an ethno-state in any way is awful. It's always going to be awful. Not because the people within that ethno-state are awful in particular, but just because being separate don't work. Like how have we not learned this lesson? You know, like being completely separate from everybody does not work. Or even like trying to take a group within a group and say that this group is now their own group, and then the other group is excluded from this group, and they can financially support this group, but they're not allowed to be a part of the group. When does that ever sound like a good thing for anyone to do? It makes no sense. But I guess to some people it makes sense. But I will say this, because I know that the white people who have been covering this are very confused as to how they could get any white people to fall for this, because I don't see it here on their website particularly. Well, you know what? Hold on. Let me look at the donate section. Maybe this is the page where they say the whole "are you a white person" thing. So it says, oh, it's got beautiful pictures of black people on there. People in Africa. Okay. Donate monthly to end colonialism. Okay, I see. You can donate as little as $5 a month. PayPal, Bitcoin. You know, they got some, they got pictures of people in masks and doing fundraising events. Your generous donation goes towards the liberation and self-determination for poor and working class colonized people around the world. These donations help them build chapters, provide free life-saving personal protective equipment, N95, mask, gloves, hand sanitizer, and to build a Hammer City where colonized people can have free housing, food, healthcare, education, and be safe from police violence, while indigenous people of the stolen land can have their land back and practice self-determination. Sounds great. You know, you want to create a place where we give free housing, education, and healthcare to people who historically have been excluded from that. Even people in America who suffer the most, and they talk about, again, poor and working class. We're not talking about rich people. We're talking about poor and working class, indigenous people, and people of color. These are people who historically have been marginalized, who are marginalized to this day, who can't get proper health care, can't get proper education, can't afford where they live because it's always being gentrified. Like, it sounds great. And I'm in no way saying that, you know, like supporting them. I'm just saying like the rhetoric that they use on their website sounds great. And I can understand how white people who just now learn about oppression and things like college and stuff, how they get wrapped up in this and they're like, oh, I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to fix it. So now I want to talk about white guilt for a minute. White people. I was going to say nobody, but it's not nobody. There are obviously some people who want you to feel guilty. You do not need to feel guilty for being white. That is not going to help anything. Anything. If anything, it makes y'all more annoying. Honestly, you don't need to feel guilty for being white. And the problem is there are a lot of people, and you can think about it as levels, right? So when you first go to college, a liberal arts college, and you first learn about all the different ways that people of color are being oppressed, even just in America, not even thinking about overseas, you get in this moment where you're just angry at everybody. You know, you're witnessing all the microaggressions that people get, and you want to protect people and you want to help, you know, you want to do something. And I get that. But then you continue with that. You continue to grow, you continue to educate yourself. And then you get to this next level where you understand why people are doing the things that they do, and then understand what you can reasonably do as far as educating the people around you and educating yourself and working to be anti-racist. People around that level tend to calm down a bit. They tend to like level out a bit. Like I definitely leveled out. Because a lot of black people, when I tell them that I spent an entire semester, close to an entire year, just learning about racism, racial philosophy, you know, racial identity and all of that stuff, everybody always says the same thing. Man, you must have been pissed. You must have been so mad for like a whole year. No, I wasn't. Because I understand why people do the things that I do. So now instead of looking at it as a character flaw of somebody who is racist, no, don't get me wrong, there are some people who are just bad people. But instead of looking at it as racism as a character flaw, I can see it as a systematic issue that has informed a lot of the beliefs of these people who tend to have these negative views towards people of color. And some people are willing to be educated about that, as I've talked about in other videos. And some people don't want to be educated and they just want to be mad. And I leave them to do their thing. But I understand it now, so I'm not as mad. But there are a lot of people who they get to that lower point and then they stop. They stop educating themselves. They stop trying to like have more experiences with different people of color and like understand their experiences. They don't care anymore. It's just everything sucks because white people are awful and white people cause all the problems and they're bad. And that's not going to help anything. Like just being mad all the time is not going to help anything. You know, being mean to white people, being mean to cops, like, it's not going to help anything just being mad and being mean. You have to learn how these things work structurally and systematically, and then work on educating yourself to figure out what you can do to actually help fight against those things. Just being mad don't work. But a lot of people, especially a lot of woke white people, they stay in that area where they're just mad all the time, and they're just like, you know, hate all other white people and they hate themselves. And I've had white people like that, and it makes me so upset and annoyed. I have this white friend. Actually, he isn't even fully white, but he presents white. He looks white. And he has so much white guilt. And it would just make me feel uncomfortable around him. Like one time we were talking and I was complaining about some pains that I was having. And he understood those pains. He'd had those same pains before. And he's like, oh man, I understand how you feel. And then he stopped and then he freaked out on me. And he was like, not that I understand how you feel as a black person, but like, I understand how you feel when you go through pain and all of that stuff. And I was like, nigga, calm down. It ain't that fucking serious. Like, what do you, no, it's not that serious. And he just like completely freaked out because he just, and there'd be times when we'd be talking and I'd talk about something normal, that's normal to me. And he would be like, oh, it's just so sad how all this stuff you guys have to go through, and you know, like about to cry and shit. And I'd be like, bro, you making me feel bad. Like, calm down. We know racism is an issue. Okay? That doesn't mean you have to be like over crying when I'm just telling you about how my day went. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't even like I was having like some serious racial issues. It was just more like just some systematic stuff that happened. But like, I don't want you guys to feel guilty. I know there might be some people who are like, yeah, white tears, I don't want you to feel guilty, because feeling guilty about being white, what is that going to do for us? You just going to feel sad and you're going to hate yourself. But like, what is it going to do for me? Nothing. It does nothing for me for you to feel guilty and sad. It does nothing for me. Even if you are a white person who is like, every black person I see, I'm going to give them some money. Like, yeah, that feels good in a minute, but it's not going to fix the systematic issues about us, like, you know, getting underpaid in jobs or not being able to get home loans or business loans and all that stuff. It's not going to fix that. You know what I mean? You know, you're just giving me some dollars here and there, like, oh, here's your reparations. And like, no, that's not going to help me on a larger scale. You're just doing that to make yourself feel better. And when these Black Hammer people are talking about how white people can donate and contribute to the cause, like, you donating money every month up to $250 or more, that just makes you feel better. But that doesn't actually solve any problems. You know, like, you need to vote differently. You know, you need to vote for people who advocate for policies that actually help people of color who are oppressed. You know, you need to educate the people around you to understand how to help people and what you can do. Throwing money at a problem does not fix it. You have to change the system. There's a larger system here. You giving me your money is not going to help. You know what I mean? And I can understand how you see the organization like this and you're like, man, I want to help out. You want to help, you know, provide education and housing and healthcare to these people who have been oppressed and marginalized. That sounds great. And it does. There's like 1 million nonprofits that are focused on stuff like that. There's like 1 million nonprofits that are focused on giving people access to healthcare. You know, like Planned Parenthood is an example of something that helps people who are poor, but it doesn't go specifically for Black people. It's like for everybody who can't afford healthcare, they can get healthcare from there, you know. And there are nonprofits that are specifically about reading for Black people, or like teaching literacy to people of color. There are stuff about, you know, helping with education, stuff about helping with healthcare access for pregnant Black women because they have high mortality rates. Like, there are tons of nonprofits for that you could be donating your money to, that is actually doing things to help the people. It doesn't have to just be Black Hammer. Especially, you don't want to donate to something that makes you feel like a piece of shit if you don't donate to them and give them your money. Like, that's part of my issue with tithing with religion. Like, you shouldn't feel like crap if you can't give money to somebody. Like, that makes no sense. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, I mean, even Jeff Bezos, like, with all his billions, and people are like, some people are like, he should just give all his money away and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, he could put money into, you know, these different organizations, and he could, I mean, they practically own the government. They could put money into the government and say, hey, do this, do this, do this, that's gonna help people. I can see that. But someone who just has money shouldn't just feel like a piece of shit because they're not giving their money away. They should feel like a piece of shit because they're causing harm to the people who are under them, who are giving them that money in the first place. That's why you should feel shit. If your people under you ain't getting paid a living wage, and you sitting up here rolling in billions, and you could afford to give these people a living wage and better healthcare and all of that stuff and better working conditions, and you choose not to because you just want to have more money, yeah, now you're a piece of shit. But no one should feel like a piece of shit specifically because they don't just give money away. That's just stupid. That makes no sense. If anything, I don't even know, because I'm not like a big, you know, I don't know all the different capitalist and communist terms or whatever, but it just sounds ridiculous to me personally. You know, I don't donate to every nonprofit I meet. I don't give money to every homeless or seemingly homeless person that I see. And some people would say you're a piece of shit because you don't, you know, give $20 to every homeless person you see. Not everybody got $20 to give every homeless person they see. Leave me alone. Let me do the work that I want to do that is within my realm and my reach to do to help the people around me. And then that's just what I'm going to do. I don't think that we should force people to do this. And I don't think that white people should be manipulated emotionally into doing these things that don't benefit everybody. Like, even when you talk about reparations, to actually give real reparations, this country doesn't even have enough money to give real reparations to Black people in the way that it would be equivalent to all the money that Black people put into this country, Black, Native American, and Asian people, actually, that have put into this country over the past several centuries. They just don't have enough money for it. They don't. Now, we could put more money into public education and make sure that kids are getting the proper education they need, that they have enough books, that they have enough schools. You know, that was a big thing for me growing up, is that my school was so poor. We didn't have enough books for everybody. You know, putting effort into making sure that more Black people of color can get like their home loans and get their business loans, and can, you know, not gentrifying areas to where Black people of color are like priced out of their own neighborhoods that they've been in for decades. You know, we can put effort into those things and actually helping people. We can put effort into infrastructure. We can put efforts into expanding healthcare access to marginalized groups. These are ways that we can really do some good. Giving money to this Black Hammer organization might do some good. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, from what I read, it looks like it do some good, you know. But then they're not helping all of these people. You know what I mean? They can't. There's just an organization that makes, you know, crazy claims on the internet to get attention. You know, one of their leaders looking like a fucking clown, you know, dancing around, telling me, hello, Antifa. Like, they just seem like trolls, like, that are scamming people out of money. Like, yeah, I see you got some people on there that you're doing stuff for, but you can't make the changes on the large level that you want to. And throwing more money at you ain't gonna do it. What you really need to do is be advocating for policies and systematic changes that would help these people. Giving you money to build your own, to buy your own land and build your own country or town or whatever the fuck it is that they're trying to do right now, where all the Black people can live, just sounds like an easy way to turn into Jonestown. say, I'm doing a video. You need to go to bed. You tired. I see you blinking at me. Go to sleep. But like, giving all your money to them just sound like an easy way to turn it to Jonestown. And if not that, you know, you could be starved out if people decide that they don't want to support you anymore. You might end up going to war with somebody where they say, well, we'll just bomb you. You're all in the same place. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to just separate yourself for that, because you just seem like an easy target to me. And if the government decided of whichever place you have land in, if the government decided they didn't want you anymore, they have the money and the power and the military to just get rid of you. I'd rather be in a situation where we're all mixed together and they're like, oh, we can't bomb that place. There's white people there. Good. Don't bomb me. Cause I'm sitting next to Susie and Susie can't be bombed. So neither one of us can be bombed. And I'm cool with that. But like I said before, I like white people. I like hanging out with them. I like dancing with them. I like talking with them. I like working with them. I have a white therapist. I have a black psychiatrist, but I have a white therapist. I like being around them, and I like being around other people of color. Like, I like being around Asian people and Native American people and Latin people. Like, I just want us all to be able to get along, and we can't just pretend that these issues don't exist, but we can work towards helping each other and building each other up and like making systematic changes on like a higher level to where we can all live together and be happy and be like equal, like really equal. Like, there shouldn't be any differences between how I'm treated by the police versus how my Latin friend is treated by the police versus how my white friend is treated by the police, or how I'm treated when I go into the bank versus how my white friend is. You know, like, we can work on that. And I think the biggest way to do that is for people to mingle and mix with people who are different from them, who have different experiences for them. I would have never become the person that I am today if I have not gone to this college where I made friends with people from all different backgrounds, whether they were a rich black person, poor black person, poor white people, rich white people, poor Latin people, poor Asian people, people whose family own businesses. Like, if I didn't get to interact with all those different people and understand their different experiences, you know, Muslim, Christian, atheist, Jewish, and we didn't get to have open dialogues where we talked about our differences and our similarities, I would still be saying, you know, the problematic shit that I said when I went to college. You know, honestly, it took me getting to know these people and having these experiences and understanding everybody's background while also doing the critical race theory and learning about racial philosophy and racism and all of those things to become the well-rounded, open-minded person that I am. I don't think that there's any situation where an ethno-state benefits anybody in the long term, because that just sounds to me like one type of person, one religion, one language, one culture. This just sounds boring. Like, I want to speak different languages. I want to learn different cultures, different histories. I want to create new memories and experiences, eat different foods, you know, talk to people from different backgrounds. That's what I like to do. I can't do that in an ethno state. Just me and a bunch of black and indigenous people. Like, no, I mean, you know, indigenous people have different languages and cultures. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna take that back. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. But if I was in, say, like Khadijah's thing, where it was like just all black American people, yeah, I guess, you know, you got your New York black people and your California black people and all that stuff, but it's not the same. It's not the same. You know, I want to be around people who are different from me. I think it makes you grow mentally and emotionally and as a person to just be around people who just have different experiences from you. And I don't know, ethno-states are stupid. Even if it's a black separatist thing, even if it seems radical, even if it seems like, oh, they're doing really good by having like their own thing. Everybody wants to have their own thing. And I understand that. I can understand the drive to be like, man, I just wish that, you know, I just had my own group and it was just black people who experienced something. Like, I'm in some asexual groups where it's just black asexual people because they got sick of dealing with white people shit. And I understand white people be on some shit sometimes. But I'm also still in those other groups where there's white people and Latin people and Asian people and all that stuff. So like, I'm in both of those groups. If I was just in the black asexual group, I feel miserable. because sometimes I want to talk about other things. It doesn't have to always be about, and then another thing, you're boiling everything down to race. And I don't like that. And you're really, what they're doing with this is kind of like feeding into what the racist people think. Like, because they're like, they want white people to feel guilty and give them money, but white people are excluded from this ethno state. That just makes the conservatives be like, see, I knew it. You know, like, it just makes them happy. Because again, the racist people want us to be separate from them. They want segregation. They don't want to see black people in their neighborhood or in their schools, or they don't want to have a black doctor. You know, they want us to be separate from them. So really, you guys are doing the same thing. It's not really helping anybody to have segregation. It may help a little bit with like some businesses and stuff, but really what we need to do is just work on making this a country, or really work on making every country a place where everybody can go and feel safe and welcome and equal, like they're treated like people. That's what we need. We don't need everybody to have their own pockets and just keep to themselves. That never works. In no situation does that ever work. Not at the macro level, not at the micro level with like cliques and stuff. It never works out. It really always makes you a worse person to be completely separate from other ideologies and experiences. It just does. But I know I didn't go too deep into all of the Black Hammer stuff, but I just want to talk about that because it was pissing me off. Because I was just thinking about, like, there are some people who actually believe this, that is going to help people, that is going to be a good thing. And it's not. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And I know the white people had said their 2 cents on it, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents on it. Like, I get it. I get wanting to be separate. I get, you know, being fed up with white people. I get it. They stress me out sometimes too. But this isn't the answer. It's really not. We just need to work on making this a better place for all of us. But that's all I want to say. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. I'm going to try and enjoy mine and de-stress and not think about all of this nonsense that's going on in the world right now. But yeah, I hope you guys are still taking care of yourselves. You're still taking care of your mental health and your physical health. You're still drinking your water and relaxing and doing whatever it is that you need to do to stay in a good mental space. Because at the end of the day, you can't fix racism or fight systematic oppression if your mental health is messed up and you're depressed all the time and you're not taking care of yourself. You can't do it. So take care of yourself. Do what you can, and don't let anybody make you feel guilty for not doing what they think you should be doing, okay? All right, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Love you guys. Bye.